All right, welcome everybody. We're going to talk about the foundations of the spine. We're going to talk about the pelvis and the lower spine first. Dr. Ryan's going to help me demonstrate a therapeutic approach to stabilizing the lower spine musculature. This is typically done by somebody who is starting out at point zero or somebody who's been injured or in an acute phase. So what we want to do is start to get just some strength in the legs and strength in the lower spine, and basically teaching the mechanics of squatting, introduction to squatting. Dr. Ryan? So we're just using a chair, typical office chair. What he's going to do is just simply controlling his weight. He's going to sit back into the chair. First thing he's going to do is reach back with his behind, with his buttocks. He's going to reach back towards the chair. You can use your hands as well. But what's key here is we want to make sure we're controlling our weight as we descend towards the bottom of the chair. He's going to move his feet out just a little bit wider, especially if you're weaker. You can bring your feet out wider or less stable. You're going to get a broader base. You'll be more stable that way. You have your toes pointed outward slightly, and you want to make sure to reach back towards the chair with your behind and control your weight with your leg muscles while keeping your core strength, nice and strong and tight. So the way we like for people to think of their core and how to engage their core is, if I were to tell Dr. Ryan that I was going to pop him in the stomach and I was to swing towards the stomach, he would exhale and tighten up those muscles in the stomach. That's an easy way for him to find where those muscles are. So Dr. Ryan, you ready? I'm going to pop you one. Ready? Okay, so he's tight and he's ready to go. So now those muscles are engaged. He knows where those muscles are. He's just going to sit back into that chair, keeping that tight and using his legs in a controlled fashion. You can have a seat. And he can pause there for a second, or for as long as you need, depending on where you are in your health and in your strength and in your stability. And then he's going to show you how to get back up out of that chair. And this is technically a squat. So he's going to push off his feet with driving out of the heels. He's going to try to sit right up out of the chair using his leg strength, his buttocks, and keeping that core engaged and his low back engaged. So go ahead, Dr. Ryan. And stand straight up perfectly. See how he goes into a full hip extension. Now he's going to repeat that, and he'll do a set of up to 30 repetitions is your goal. So you start where you are, wherever you are at in your stability and your strength, start where you are, but your goal is to get it up to 30 repetitions inside of a reasonable period of time. Go ahead, Dr. I, if you could do 3 repetitions for us. What you'll notice is he's controlling his weight the whole time. What we see a great deal with our patients is when they go to sit into a chair, they land into the chair and they just are not controlling their body weight. They're just slamming down into that position. Not only are they creating a traumatic force to the disc, that compressive force, in an unstable, uncontrolled fashion, but they're losing out and missing out on the opportunity to actually strengthen those legs and strengthen that core. So I'm going to have him show you that one more time. This is what it looks like when you're just not controlling yourself into a chair and you just basically are just falling back into your chair. If you don't have a disc problem in your lower back already, that's a great way to get one. So stop doing the wrong things and start doing the right things and strengthen that pelvis. Nice work.
What would you suggest about maybe coming up if you're not ready to drive out of the heels and use that, using a little bit of support very first off? If you're not ready to come up off the heels. I don't know, some people have a trouble getting up from here if they need to use a little bit of support.
Yeah, you bringing in the upper extremities in your hands and using the arms of the chair as well.
Until you're ready to just come straight up from just your legs.
Yep, that's a great point. You can always recruit the upper body, push off the arms of the chairs. That's awesome.
Okay.
Yeah, great. Good. Cut. Okay, so the second therapeutic exercise that we're going to demonstrate uses a body ball. Now, the ball is going to give a person a bit of a challenge because it's got some flexion and give to it. It's what we consider a dynamic sitting surface. So this is for somebody who is trying to gain some stability and some strength in the core musculature, and also allows for a pumping action in the lower spine or in the discs of the spine. The pumping action in the joints of the spine is critical because what it does is it allows for what's called imbibition, which is a process of fluid exchange through the tissues. Your discs in between your vertebrae rely on the proper movement or motion of your spine to move fluid through the tissue, which brings hydration, nutrients, oxygen, and it also gets toxicity and swelling out of a joint space. So imbibition is absolutely critical, and not only maintaining the health of the spine, but strengthening the tissues and in the healing process. So when we sit on a dynamic surface like a ball, not only is it more challenging than on a static surface like we were on a chair just a moment where you have a fixed surface, but it's absolutely dynamically challenging for all of the structures around any injury that you might have in a joint, and it also is one way for you to maintain core strength and build on the core strength that you have already. So Dr. Ryan, if you could just have a seat on the body ball there. If you'll notice, Dr. Ryan's sitting on a ball that's on a platform. The platform provides some stability. He's also chosen to back the ball up into the corner so that you're not afraid of the ball rolling one way or the other. This would be very much a beginner position. Again, this is a therapeutic type exercise. So this is a person that is not able to get the imbibition benefits of walking, which is one of the critical elements or one of the big benefits of just going for a regular walk, is that pump action, that up and down motion of your body. Really exchanges fluids through the tissues, and that's what strengthens and keeps those tissues healthy. If you are so acute or so weak or so uncoordinated or so dizzy that you are unable to go for a walk, this is a good option for you to actually get some of that good, healthy, critical, essential movement through the joints. So one thing we want to emphasize when somebody sits on a body ball is when you go to sit in this position, you want to make sure you maintain that engagement of that core musculature. So what we want to do is fight for the lower spine curvature, the lordotic curvature in the low spine. Dr. Ryan, if I could have you just turn towards me so we can get a good lateral view of that low spine. And if you could, just exaggerate that lumbar curve for me. You can see that lumbar curve or the lordotic curve in the lower spine, which is absolutely critical to maintain in this position. If you could lose that curve for me, Dr. Ryan, and show it into a slouch, where his low spine has lost that protective curve. That curve is what protects your discs. Your discs are not shock absorbers. What they are is spacers that allow the very delicate nerve roots to exit your spine and feed your organ systems. So what we want to do is protect those discs. The curvature of the spine is what's critical in protecting the disc by acting like a spring. So we want to engage that lower spine, and what we're going to have Dr. Ryan doing here is he's going to be pumping his spine on the ball. We are not bouncing on the ball. We are in a very controlled fashion engaging our core, maintaining that low back curve, engaging our pelvic musculature, and we are pumping up and down on the ball, very controlled, with a tall chest and an engaged low spine. So you can see Dr. Ryan is not bouncing on the ball. He's going to show that you can actually pick up speed on that bounce and still maintain that control. And it may look like he's bouncing, but he is controlling every element of that motion. He could stop himself at any point through that motion. He wants to maintain that control so he's not erratically bouncing on the ball. If you could show what bad form and bad posture would be on that ball, that will aggravate a disc problem. So you want to be really cautious not to be torquing and twisting any of the discal material. That'll create more disc damage and more swelling and nerve pressure. Okay? Excellent. Thanks, Doc. If you could stand up and roll the ball off of the platform and just to the center of the room here. This would be the next step up. You just move it away off of the platform or move it away from the wall or both and just have a seat right on the ball. And we just repeat. Here the surface is even more dynamic, there's less stability, so it's just more challenging, so you're recruiting more musculature. Exact same form. Engage low spine, nice tall chest, straight up and down in a pumping action. Go ahead, Dr. Rai. That's perfect. This is such an easy exercise. Pretty much anybody can do it, and you can work your way up. This is one of those things that you can do while you're watching television or listening to your headphones or books on tape or doing your email or what have you. This is a great choice as far as a sitting service for in front of a computer or doing any reading or what have you. Get yourself one of these body balls. It's low cost, low term investment, low entry investment, I should say, and it's one of those things that's totally safe, very effective, easy to do. You won't even break a sweat doing it, but it's something that you can do every day, and your lower spine would thank you for it.